Hey traders, this is your stock market outlook for the week of September 26th. Market conditions are poor. I'm not taking any trades until they improve, and let's see what that would look like. So right now, all the indices in short-term downtrends, making lower lows, lower highs on the longer term and more recently, just over the last month and a half. So no matter which time frame you're kind of looking at, things are bearish at the moment. What would have to happen for that to change? We need to see higher swing highs, higher swing lows. First, that's going to happen on the shorter term, like the last month, 2 months. That's the time frame we're looking at. We're going to start to see, hopefully, when this changes. We don't know when it's going to occur, but we're going to have to start seeing moves above prior highs. So first this one, then maybe we pull back and we make a higher swing low. That's starting to see that evidence of an uptrend. Then we start clearing above these highs. And then we continue to progress in that uptrend till the longer term downtrend is no longer in question. The short term downtrend is not in question, and we're making that overall progress to the upside. Right now, we're a ways away from doing that. We've been dropping hard, so it's going to take a little bit, probably at least a week, before we even start considering some higher highs, higher lows. So I'm not scanning this week just because I know there's probably not going to be any trades for me. I could change my mind at the end of the week if we see some really explosive upside action in the first few days of the week. Then maybe I run a scan just to see what's looking decent. But right now, from the indices perspective, we are in downtrends, and that doesn't look like it's going to change within the next week or so. So that's one reason why I'm staying out. Another one, the market health indicators, all poor. So S&P 500 stocks, less than 4% or about 4% are above their 50-day moving average. 12% of all U.S. stocks are above their 50-day moving average. Generally much easier to make money on the long side when we can see an uptrend here. Stocks were holding well above their 50-day moving average during this uptrend. When we started to dip below that, we had the sell-off. So wait till we start seeing more stocks above their 50-day moving average. That's just one of the things I look at. Volume, not really relevant at the moment. Usually only in specific days do I find it relevant. Daily percentage moves in the S&P 500. Big moves are associated with downtrends and turning points. Here you can see big drops. These do not typically occur during uptrends where you have big single-day drops of 2% or more in the S&P 500. Generally, when the S&P is trending higher, it is more just tiny movements like this for sustained periods of time. Then we get a big drop. That's usually the start of a correction, pullback, sideways movement, but not uptrending behavior. So right now we are seeing bearish type behavior where September 21st and September 23rd, not quite as big as we had back here in mid-September, but these were almost 2% drop days. Not good for indicating bullish behavior. Let's continue. This is the advanced decline line. It was showing some strength before, moving above these prior highs, but recently it's just been in an overall downtrend, holding slightly above these levels while the S&P has already dropped below these July levels. But I wouldn't call this a lot of strength on the part of the NYSE advanced decline line just because it is angled down. It's been dropping sharply in a downtrend along with the S&P 500. So nothing bullish there either. This is the volume that occurred in uptrending or downtrending stocks, how much the percentage of volume that occurred in uptrending or downtrending stocks. We look for 90% or 10%. Those are the key levels. 90% indicates 90% of the volume that occurred that day occurred in stocks moving higher. We did have some of those readings earlier on when we tried to stage this little rally and further back on here. But these ones did develop into a decent uptrend here. This one failed pretty quick, and we got a signal early on right there that we were going back to bearish. We had, I think it was about 92% of the volume was to the downside. So this reading was about 8%, meaning 92% of the volume that day occurred in stocks moving down. That is a bearish signal indicative of downtrending type behavior. So all of these in poor condition. These all need to start showing the reverse. uptrend in the NYSE advanced decline line, small moves in the daily percentage movement, getting back, or at least starting to move up back toward that 50% level and moving above it, seeing more upside days versus these really bearish downside days in terms of volume and stocks moving down. The ultimate indicator. Another reason why I'm not trading is anything that I was watching the past few weeks started to break down when these indicators broke down. So if you're watching, let's say, just 10 stocks, you've run your scan list, you've gone through, you've found 10 that you like the look of, you're waiting for entries, whether you get into them or not, because conditions have been a little bit dicey, I still like to watch them to see how they perform. Out of 10, we want to see 7, 8, 9, 10 of them working really well. That means you can pretty much throw a dart at the ones you've picked and potentially make money. If we're watching 10 stocks and only 1, maybe 2 are acting right, it's much harder to make money because your odds of picking the one that's going to perform really well out of the 10 that you liked is much lower. So what needs to happen to bring me back into the market? Higher highs, higher lows, these indicators improving, and most of all, the stocks that I'm scanning for and watching need to be acting well. Ultimately, those are the trades that I'm going to be taking, so it's going to be much easier to make money if most of them are acting well, moving higher, shooting up, and yeah, it's like shooting fish in a barrel as opposed to, trying to catch a minnow in a raging river, which we're in right now with the downtrend. And over here, yeah, we're just shooting them in a barrel. Easy money. I like to wait for the easy money. Right now, it's hard money trying to pick, the one stock that's going to fare okay in this type of downtrending environment. So we'll just wait for overall conditions to improve and for more stocks to start moving up. Sectors on the move, everything getting hammered right now. The only ones that have held up decently over the last 3 months are in the top, or not held up decently. They've all lost money. But the ones that have held up are financials, industrials, and consumer cyclicals, other than the defensive. Defenses are almost always going to hold up well in down markets, but they're not going to perform as well during uptrending markets, which is what we're waiting for. So I usually just ignore utilities and defensive stocks. So financials, industrials, and consumer cyclicals. These occur in the top half of the list over the last month and the top half of the list over the last 3 months. Maybe those will be the ones that lead us out into the next rally. But what I'm really interested in seeing is once we start to see the indices move up, we start to see the health indicators improve, which sectors are leading then? So it'll be the 1 week performance, the 1 month performance. Once we start to rise again, those are the sectors I'm going to be most interested in. And the ones that I'll be watching. And you run your scan list as normal, but you might want to focus a little bit more on stocks in those sectors that have been really leading that push higher, because they could be the ones, if this next push up, and I have no idea if it will be, if we start moving up and making higher highs, higher lows, these indicators improve, it could be the rally that starts the next big rally. We don't know when that's going to happen. So whenever that happens, there's always stocks that make huge advances, and they're usually the ones that lead early, out of the bottom. They're already starting to perform well, even while the market's dropping. So I want to see the market start to improve. I'm looking for those stocks that are performing well, and then we jump into those. So that's what helps out just by looking at the sectors. Join me for weekly trading discussions, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. If you're struggling with your swing trading, day trading, you want some guidance, maybe just ask some questions about trading in general, you can join me and some other traders for weekly discussions. You can see the link there. Hope you'll join me. So until next week, happy trading.